Hello students, this is Lavjeet Arora. So now we are going to start the chapter that is related to the method overloading. So as you know that I'm using this book for covering the syllabus of ICSE class 10th, right? So this book I'm following. So guys, we have already discussed there what is method call, what is static method, that all the things we have covered. So now we are going to start the next thing, that is method overloading, right? So before going to start, I should prefer that you should know about the methods, the basics of methods, right? So that I have already discussed with you in the part 1, right? So that's why I'm saying that this is part number 2. So here we will discuss about the overloading of a method, right? If we talk about Java, so in Java we have there three type of overloading. First of all, we have there the constructor. If I talk about the constructor, we haven't started yet this chapter constructor because this is the next chapter, right? So I will tell you in detail in the next chapter. There we will discuss about the constructor, right? So now the next thing in Java we have there the method overloading. Here we will focus, right? In this video we will focus on this method overloading. Next in Java we talk about the operator overloading. So what do you mean by the operator overloading? As you know that you have done the polymorphism, so there we have discussed all these types also. But in short, if you will ask that what is operator overloading, right, make this correct that this is overloading, not loading, right? So now you have plus there. When you are using this plus with numerical value, so you are finding there 7, right? But if I'm using this with a string, let's say I am writing here my name, love plus JEET, right? So this is playing the role of concatenation, not playing the role of a operator, arithmetical operator. So now here we are joining two string, and here we are performing through this the arithmetical operation, that is what the plus. So this is called the operator overloading. Means here one operator we have, and with the help of one operator we are doing two different tasks, right? So this is the actual meaning of operator overloading, right? So in this constructor overloading, so before going to start the overloading of a constructor, you should know about the constructor. So that's why I'm skipping this part, because first of all we will discuss what is constructor, that will be in the next chapter. So here my main focus is here on the method overloading. So let's get start the method overloading. So before going to start the method overloading, let's study about the polymorphism, because in class 9th, you were having there the same topic, that was the polymorphism. But that time you have studied about the theoretical part only, you have not done there any practical part. So this is the time in the class 10th, the time for the practically to understand the polymorphism. Okay, so there you have understood about the method overloading concept and the operator overloading concept, right? So now we will do all these things practically. If I talk about the polymorphism, so the poly means many, and morphs means the forms. So that means the many forms. What does it mean, the many forms? First of all, through the function overloading, or we can say that through the method overloading in Java, implement the polymorphism. Okay, so this is the way how we can implement the polymorphism. So now Java facilitates to define a number of functions with the same name but different parameters. I'm repeating this again for you. That means same name but different parameter, right? So our method's name will be same there but with the different parameters. Okay, so the type will be different, or we can say that the number of parameters can be different there. So this is the actual, we can say that the actual function overloading or method overloading, right? So now I'm moving to the next. There I have already taught to the class, so that's why this is there. Let me erase that. Okay, so now it will be fine, right? So we have studied about that what is polymorphism, right? So now guys, let's say you have a function there, let's say void, and xyz function is there, right? So this is not having any parameters, I'm using this function. Okay, so next we have there the same name function that is also xyz. So now the name is same, its name is same means that this thing we are doing in the same class. What? In the same class we have the function, right? Same name xyz. Okay, so now here how the compiler will find that which function we are calling. So that will be done with the help of number and type of parameters. If you are taking their integer x, so surely here either you have to differentiate it with the number of the arguments, or you have to differentiate through the type. You can take there the float x, right? So now how the compiler will get differentiate between both? So the name is really same, but so the method overloading we can achieve when we are differentiating through the number of arguments or the type of arguments. Let's do it practically. This is our BlueJ, right? So I hope you people are also using the BlueJ, because it is mentioned in the ICSE. The ideally must be there the BlueJ, right? So functions, right? So next function overloading. uh, let's say create here our own method own function there. I'm erasing everything, so my class name that is given the function overloading, right? Let's say I'm giving the name void sum, and so here system dot out dot println semicolon, and you are just giving there any sum is this, right? So this is you have just written because it's just an example. Next I have given there same name, right? So same thing I'm just printing there. Okay, now my see, it is showing me an error. Why? Because the name is same. What? The name is same, sum and sum. So now I have to make a difference between both. Like if I am making it with argument, so here there is no argument, so now that is correct, means the compiler will get differentiate between both with the help of argument. Either the number of arguments can be different or the type can be different. So now I'm making my main function void main, right? So public static void main, I'm just writing there public static void, this we have already written, right? So main as main, right? So as you know that we can give there any name, right? So now this is my main method. So through this main method, of course I will call to the function either this or this. If I'm going to write there the object, so my class is this, let me copy that because the name is very much long. So instead of writing, so I'm just making it copy paste. So obj is equals to new, so new is operator. With the help of new operator your object will get allocate memory, right? So now with the help of this object I'm calling to the function, which function? The sum function, right? So I'm calling to the function sum function, but see there we have there two sum function. So now how the compiler will get differentiate between both that two, which function you are calling? So we have there the function sum and sum, two functions we have there. So this is my integer x, and here there is no argument. Now our compiler will get differentiate through this, that we are calling to the function which is having no any argument. If let me give there another message, sum, and it is having no parameter, and one more sum we have there. It is having integer x, right? So like how we get to know that in the console window. So now let's see the output of that, my main function. See guys, so this is this. So now I'm opening this back again and showing you back the console window. See there, this is going to be print there, right? If I want to call the another function also, so for that I have to mention there the value, that is 20. So now that value will get received by this, but we are not using this. So simply you can print it also here, like x is, I'm just printing there, right? So you can change the name also, that you know that the function, this is my formal parameters and these are my actual parameters as we have discussed earliest, right? So here give there u. So if I'm calling, let me clear that, okay, and control w, coming back to the and compiling it again. So see guys, sum and integer x20. So let me show you back the code. So see there, so here we were calling to the function, first of all the sum function we have called. So sum function we have called. Next we have called the sum function. This is called the method overloading, where the methods name are same, but how the compiler will get differentiate with the help of parameters, right? So here you are passing this 20 to this. So now here your compiler will not get confused. So this is some name, this is also some name, but here you have there only one parameter, right? So this is u and that is this, so integer x and 20. So this we have printed there, of course we have printed this there, right? So how we have done all these things with the help of method overloading. So now coming back to the ppt. So here one definition is there, what is static binding and early binding. So this definition is very important. This can come in the exam also. So the system find the best match of the function argument during the program compilation. That is called the static binding or early binding there, right? Because before going to compile the program, your compiler get the best, we can say that the best match for the function argument. Otherwise we will it will create an error, we will find an error there if there will be no any best match. That let's say you have given there the name sum and another function also sum with no parameter, with no parameter. So now here you will find an error, right? So now before going to compile, so you are just finding there an error, that you have to make it correct there. Okay, so the system find the best match of the function argument during the program compilation only. So this is called the early binding, or we can say that in another word, that is called the static binding also. What are the advantages of the function overloading? Of course there will be disadvantages also, because the confusion is there, the biggest disadvantage. But surely there are some advantages also. The first advantage that we can say, that cleanliness of the code, right? If suppose you don't want to give there the different name, you have there so many functions and you don't want to give there the different name, this can be the advantage. Because let's say you have there 10 to 15 functions and you don't want to give their different name to each, right? So that is very tough for you to remember that all the 15 or maybe more than 15 functions with the different name. So that will be easy for you if you are giving same name to all, but you have to make sure that time you are giving, you are differentiating all the 15 or maybe more than 15 functions with the help of type and the number of argument. Let's say we have their example. Okay, so I have given there, let's say this is my function there and this is right. So now Is this valid? If I'm giving their void some integer u, this, yeah, this is valid because name is same. My function overloading, or I can say that method overloading, that is exactly correct. But if I am giving their integer x, right, so here also I'm sending 89 or anything. So if I'm going to compile that, so I am getting an error. Why? Because the name is same, that's fine, but you have to make a difference in the argument. Either the type can be different, okay, so you are giving there the character x, so here also we have to give there the character value only. So is this valid? Okay, so character, yeah, this is valid there, right? So now void sum, the name is same, but here integer u and character x, right? So there is a difference, the type of arguments. If let's say one function is returning a value, because return type is not affecting on the function overloading, right? And return, let's say 1, okay, and here you are putting there the receiver also. I'm not printing there anything. uh, yeah, we have to give there the name, let's say character c, no, integer, because it is returning 1. Wait, let me check that what error we are getting here. Integer sum, integer u, okay, 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 okay. So 56, and this is integer type, character type of actually, okay. It's okay, nothing will happen if you are putting there a or 6, because that will be treated as a character only, right? So now see there, this is my function, that is what creating, we are giving there the return type, that is what the integer, and here the return type is not. Now return type is not affecting on that. Return type can be different, can be same, it can be void, it can be int, means both can be same, integer. I can simply give there also integer, nothing will happen. I can simply C, or here double C, let's say. Okay, so here you have to put there the return type actually. Return and 1. Semicolon you are putting there? Yes, so that is correct. So I just want to tell you that the return type is not affecting on that. If the return type you have given same, it nothing will happen. You just have to make sure that the type and the number of argument. Let's say I'm giving there integer e, right? And here also you can give their integer e. Now your compiler will get differentiate with the help of here character and comma 90. Now it will be correct because you are passing 56 and 90, both are integer type of values that will be received by this function only. And if you are passing there this one is character type and another one is integer type, that will be received by this only. Okay, so how the compiler is going to be differentiate between both the functions if the name is same, right? So the name can be same, that will be a function overloading, but here the type or the number that can be different. But here let's say I am giving there also character char, okay. So next we have to give there also character, let's say o is there, so it is not creating an error. It is integer u, it is character e. Now here I have changed the sequence there. Character is here second and here it is first, next integer is here. But let's say if I am giving there v comma, now it is creating an error because you have given the same sequence there. Sequence must be different there, okay. So you can change the sequence, you can change the type, you can change the number of argument, okay. So let's say I am giving integer here only, but how can I differentiate? Now I can give there one more integer, that is integer y, right? So I have to change the difference here also. 3 comma character value I, and let's say 90. So now that is correct, because here integer character, so here is also integer character, but that's fine because you are giving one more argument there. Okay, so now I hope you people understood that what I'm saying. The sequence, you can make their difference with the help of sequence. You can make their difference with the help of type. Okay, with the help of, you can make there the difference with the help of type. You can change the sequence, right? The number of argument, like here is 2 and here are 3, right? So through that you can make the difference there. Otherwise your compiler will get confused that to which function you are calling. That is very necessary in the polymorphism concept when you are using there the function overloading, right? You have to make there the difference, right? So here some questions I have given there, which one is valid and which one is not valid. If that is written type can be same, can be different, because written type is not affecting on the function overloading. Integer, double, let's say d comma char, so of course it is valid, right? Of course it is valid. Next you have their integer sum, integer b, integer x, so that is surely valid, right? Why this is valid? Because okay, that is not affecting on that, that is correct. But here integer, that is creating an confusion for compiler. Your compiler will get confused to which function you are calling. You have created there the same name function, that's fine, this is the function overloading, but you have given there the same type also, okay, same number of argument also, so that is creating a difference there, right? So we have already taken the example. Okay, so next you have there the question, so do this question at home. So this is about the function overloading. That is very very important, you can say that. I'm just explaining you how to do that. You do this at home, and you can put it in the comment section. I will check through that. What is given in this function actually. So you have to create three function with the same name, of course, but here the number of argument are 2. Here is also 2. Here is also 2. The number here is also 2, and here is also 2, but it is integer type, it is character type, and it is string type. Okay, so the simple thing that is given there, what do you have to do? Okay, 15 marks it is, that is very easy. I hope you people understood the concept. And next function, next program is for you this. Actually these type of programs are very very easy, because nothing is given there, everything is given in the question only. Double, volume. Now here one argument, 2 and 3. Formula is also given there. If the main function is not given to you, no need to make that the main function, because nothing is mentioned there that you have to create the main function or not. Until it is not specifying in the question, no need to make that the main method, right? So this was our method overloading, or I can say that the function overloading. I hope you people understood the concept. So now if I'm telling you that what we have covered in this chapter, actually we have covered all the things that the what is we can say that the function, the method, how to call the function, function call, everything we have done. Different ways of defining a function, parameterized and non-parameterized, we have done, right? So this is our part 2. Here we have discussed the method overloading. Now we have covered everything in this chapter, whatever is there, right? So afterwards there will be only one, that will be pure method and impure method, that we will discuss in the next chapter, right? So bye bye guys, see you in the next class.